Welcome back to BaldHeaded Metal, guys, and welcome back to another review. This time around, I'm going to review Septicflesh's new album, Modern Primitive, which will be coming out on May 20th. It's an album with 9 songs, and it's clocking in slightly over 38 minutes. I feel like before giving this review, I need to give a little preface for you guys to understand where I'm coming from, because some of the things I'm going to say. I've only reacted to about 5 to 6 songs on this channel from this band. I haven't really dived into an album before from this band. I've come to discover from up to this point, I thought Dimmu Borgir really developed the sound of the orchestral and kind of symphonic music along with this kind of very heavy sound. And I've come to find out that Septicflesh actually did it even before them. And they've been really around, really intricately combining this orchestra in their death metal, black metal, whatever you want to call it. And as I started listening to the songs, with the reactions, I've been 50-50 on them. Some of them I really enjoyed, some of them I were okay with. Jumping into the album Modern Primitive, as a relatively new listener, I really came away impressed. I gotta say, I really liked it from the beginning to the end. Starting with the production, I thought the production was top-notch. You really hear every instrument, you really hear all the orchestra. There's one element I'm gonna mention that I could have been done better, and that'll be the vocals, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But from the music standpoint, there's a really nice variety in music. There's everything from just purely more orchestral songs, or just all-out heavy fucking kick-ass songs like Psychohistory, which to me is my favorite song on the album. It's also the shortest, I believe. And things like Modern Primitive, A Desert Throne, Neuromancer, Self-Eater. Every song on this album essentially is really good. And just like I thought, when I listened to it in a perspective of a full album, even songs like Aerophant, which I call kind of okay, really matched well within the whole scope of the album. And again, I came away really impressed with what I've heard. It was a really nice juxtaposition of heavy and orchestra. That's the thing I like about it so much, is that they play off each other really well, and they know how to balance it well, where sometimes the orchestra takes over, sometimes the death metal take over, and it creates this kind of a nice flow. And I think it takes just a lot of skills to do that. With for Dimmu Borgir, I think the symphony and orchestra is always kind of a background thing. And even then, it became a more prevalent thing with like Abacadabra and their later albums. With that being in mind, one thing that I will say as a criticism that I didn't enjoy is the clean vocals. And I've said that a couple times on my reactions, and I don't think they're bad. I think his vocals are nice. It's just, I feel like he's being pushed too far into the background, or he's so sporadically in there where he's singing, like she's trying to sing along with the guttural vocals and along with a really heavy part that you really don't hear him very well. I think he should be at the forefront, and he should be playing just kind of, at least in their mixing, they should have done that he's playing off the guttural vocals just like the music is playing off each other. I thought that would have been a really nice mix. Whereas here, I don't think that's the case. And yes, I listened to it with headphones, and I clearly listened to it multiple times. And I felt like that about it every single time. As a matter of fact, with most songs that I've listened to in reactions as well, that's been my kind of impression, and that'll be my only negative. There's also one thing about this band that, love it or hate it, there is a certain simplicity to the death metal part of the music, because there's also a big focus on the orchestra. So you don't expect to get something that's really intricate in riffing and soloing and all that sorts, where they keep it more as a tempo and the aggressive kind of feel that you need to get with all this orchestra to really get into this kind of dark place. But the orchestra is where they flex their musical skills, so to say. And I think it's a thing to know getting into this album if you're a new fan of Septicflesh or you've never heard them before. For fans, I think you're getting what's expected. I don't think at this point in time you're really going to get a reinvention of the wheel from a lot of the veteran bands. They're going to be doing what we expect for them to do. Sort of like for me was Senjutsu with Iron Maiden. They're just doing the expected. Very few times will you get a band who really steps out of their comfort zone. One of them being Judas Priest when they released Nostradamus, which was a weird album to release, and rightly so, was very divided. I was one of the people that didn't like it. My brother absolutely loved that album. So I think, in a sense, that they play it safe from a perspective of sound, but they don't stagnate, or at least the impression I get, there's no stagnation in music. It's interesting. It's fun to listen to. I didn't get the feeling that I got from the new Hypocrisy album, which kind of felt like a weaker effort of their older albums. That, to me, that's what it felt like. And some of the fans agreed, some of the fans disagreed. Here, I didn't feel that. It feels just like a high quality album from the beginning to the end. I was really interested in all the songs. I listened to it multiple times. It's all really good signs of something that there's something special that a new listener can get into it and just automatically be hooked on it. Whereas where it's going to stand in terms of the pantheon of the albums, it's really going to depend on the fans in how we rate it because that feeling changes over the years. I found myself rating certain albums from Slayer differently as the years went on. But Since It's in the Abyss still being my favorite. But it changes. But that's secondary to the fact that I have a feeling that people are going to come away generally enjoying what they hear. You don't come to a veteran band for innovation. You go to a new band and check them out because they're going to create the new modern sound. You come here to get what you love about Septicflesh, and everything that I've heard up to this point, along with this album, it's along those lines and done extremely, extremely well. It's a band I would love to see live because to see the whole orchestra and the whole thing going on. And I gotta say, man, freaking his vocals, the guttural vocals, I want to make sure I get the name right. Sipiros, his vocals are fucking kick-ass, his guttural vocals. The guitars are nice and chunky. The orchestra sounds really ominous and it has this gothic feel to the music that I think is really, really enjoyable. And they really represent Greece in a very strong way. I want to leave that at that, how I feel about this album. I don't want to repeat myself. I kind of gave all my feelings on this album, and I think there is something special here. But I want to hear from the fans and how you feel about this album in particular. If it struck you in a particular way, or perhaps it didn't click with you as much as you wanted it to click. And I want to also wish you guys to enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe out there, and most of all, guys, keep it metal.